7 mistakes fiduciaries make that can destroy your 401k. The F word in the retirement industry is Stop bleeping me, Zach. I can say this F word. I can say fiduciary, okay? Yes. And when you're a fiduciary, a lot of important responsibility rests on your shoulders, whether you know it or not. A fiduciary is always a plan sponsor. A plan sponsor and employer cannot get away from being a fiduciary.
Because even if you hire people to take care of things, you made that choice.
Correct.
Yep.
Exactly. You can reduce your liability and spread the load, but you're responsible because you hired the people to act as your intermediary as a fiduciary. Things have changed a little bit, but oftentimes financial professionals are acting as fiduciaries. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. That has an effect on the type of education and specific I'm going to try very hard not to use the word advice, but that has an effect on the very specific type of information they can share, all right? Sometimes third-party administrators are also fiduciaries. Those are the 316s. We are not a 316. We do not act as a fiduciary. We do things based on the guidance of others, all right?
And the short thing is, if you're a fiduciary, you're supposed to put the interests of the plan first.
Correct.
So, excessive fees and hidden costs. Can you use your brother-in-law to do the investments even though he's not certified?
And he's charging way too much money. You can, but you shouldn't. Well, you probably shouldn't.
Dicey.
Okay. Now then, so as an example, a company selected a 401k provider, we're talking about the record keeper here, all right, without thoroughly investigating the fee structure in our example here. Now, the chosen plan had excessive administrative fees, high expense ratios on investment options, and hidden costs that were not disclosed to the participants. This is an example. This is somebody who's requesting to get sued, okay?
Well, legally, they're supposed to disclose it. And if they're not disclosing it, then there's a problem that you haven't read the disclosures.
Right, which actually means that even if you have really low fees, but you're hiding them, that is kind of in the eyes of the law just as bad as having high fees and hiding them. Now, please note, we are using the word excessive, not lowest, all right? There is nothing in the law that requires a plan sponsor or a fiduciary to find the lowest cost solution. If there's a specific value there, it may not be excessive. I always like to think maybe there's a financial professional who actually goes to each person's home for 2 hours every quarter to discuss specific financial advice with each and every participant, including the lowest paid rank and file employee. That person's going to charge more. I would not consider that excessive because they're really involved and they're getting an awful lot of extra service. Number 2, inappropriate investment options. Now then, all right, Catherine, what do you got for here?
Well, you can't have a all Bitcoin all the time account, right?
No, that would not be considered a very diverse investment option. In our example, a plan sponsor offered a limited selection of investment options that were overly risky or not diversified. Some of these options were proprietary funds with poor performance histories. So if you're picking a vendor that has to require that you have actual money in their proprietary funds, you have to be very careful to make sure that they're appropriate investments, all right, that they're having reasonable rates of return, all right. Now, we're not big fans of crypto in retirement plans, all right. And you're generally not supposed to have like 4 different variations of money market. That's not a diverse investment, okay? 4 different cryptocurrencies. If those are your only investment options in the plan, you can't say, hey, I got 4 different things to pick from. No, that's not diverse investment, all right? The idea is to pick a variety of different style boxes. That's what the Department of Labor and IRS are looking for.
So the third one is failure to monitor and update the plan. So is it set it and forget it on plans?
You start your plan and you never ever look at it again.
Because nothing ever changes.
Wrong. Okay, now then.
Actually, people change too.
People change. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff changes. Now, in our example, a company failed to regularly review and update its 401k plan's investment lineup and overall structure. So in other words, when they started the plan, all the funds that were offered were at the, they were in the top quartile or whatever selection criteria they were looking, they were at the top of the game. But because they thought it was set and forget it, 8 or 9 years later, a couple of market cycles later, some of the investment managers have left, maybe some of those funds have merged with others or closed or whatever they've just not paid attention to, and now they're bottom quartile funds, all right? Just because you pick good funds at some point in their life cycle doesn't mean you're done paying attention to them. Now, in this example, they neglected to adjust the options in the plan to reflect changes in the market, participant needs. Maybe when you started the plan, all of your employees were 64. And now all of your employees are 24, okay? You need to be able to have different investment options available for
cryogenics is your...
Cryogenic, I don't know. I'm just using different ages, lady, okay? And maybe the investment options aren't paying attention to new regulatory requirements. It's not set it and forget it, as she said.
Okay, conflicts of interest.
Yeah, no bueno.
No.
Nope.
So what's the example, Christopher?
All right, a plan sponsor selected investment options that were managed by a company where the fiduciary had personal financial interests. This is most likely a prohibited transaction. These options often had higher fees and poorer performance compared to available alternatives. Make sure you're dealing with arm's length transactions. Oh, number 5, this is a big one. Improper handling of plan contributions.
So the example is a small business owner delayed depositing employee contributions to the 401k plan, using the funds for short-term business needs instead, like floating their bills.
Yeah, no, oh God, no, don't.
Just don't. It's not worth it. It's somebody's pay.
Yeah,
it's somebody's pay, really,
they've
and
been
you're
paid,
delaying
all right,
paying
and
them.
they have elected to defer some of it into the plan, not into the general assets of the employer.
Because
that
it needs to be in the market because...
Nope.
It needs to be in the plan.
Nope. It needs to be separated from the general assets of the employer, which usually means in the trust that's associated with the plan, and that's actually a timing requirement. If it takes a couple extra days to get it invested, that's okay, but it needs to be separated from the general assets of the employer and deposited into the trust.
Then failure to provide adequate participant education.
So in our example, a plan sponsor did not provide sufficient education or resources to help participants make informed investment decisions. Now then, please note the level of sufficient education or resources is going to be very dependent upon your workforce. If you are a wealth management firm and everybody in the firm is licensed to sell securities, the level of education that's required for them is going to be very different for a restaurant, okay, where nobody has any financial experience. Now then, many employees are unaware of how to allocate their contributions effectively or the importance of diversification. So this is an example where a plan sponsor is not providing the right level of education and awareness to the participants. They're not having the help they need from the financial professional who is most likely being paid by plan assets. Ooh, number 7. Oh, that's a good one.
This is your favorite, right? Non-compliance with plan documents. So is the plan document important, Christopher?
No, it's just a hint.
Is it an idea?
It's an idea. It's a wisp of a dream. Yes, it's just maybe a general guideline. No, absolutely not. Now then, in our example, a company failed to follow the procedures and guidelines outlined in their 401k plan documents. That is not a good idea. Don't get audited. Now then, such as timely updating plan features.
You can't choose that then.
No, I know, but but if you do, you're really in trouble. So such as timely updating plan features or adhering to the stated vesting schedule. That's not, or following the in-service distribution rules or the force-out rules.
Or contribution rules.
Or the contribution rules, right. Or the plan eligibility rules and all those things. They're in there for a reason. Many of those have to be followed to the letter. If you're unsure about what any of it means, make sure you're talking to your compliance consultants. hopefully us. All right?
And you should have an SPD to look at.
There's
too.
an SPD, there's annual notices, there's a whole bunch of information pretty much every year for almost every plan. So then, you know what else to do? Like, subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors about us, and don't forget to keep those cards and letters coming.
Thanks for watching.
Toodaloo.